Okay, so in step 6, we need to select which one of our sketches we want to use. Now, I'm sure at this point you probably already have an idea of which one you want to do, but typically, if you're working with a team, you would have a number of things that the team has come up with, and you would need to have an objective way to decide which one is best. So, looking back at my two sketches here, I had this one that's kind of a triangular design. It's got a lot more glue tabs on it. It uses a little bit more material. It's got an interesting look, but because of the way that the glue stick fits in here, it actually ends up using a little more material than the other one. This one's a little simpler as far as the overall structure, but I am incorporating some more difficulty here with some of these locking tabs on the top and bottom. But it does only have one glue tab, which is actually beneficial. Now, when you set up a decision matrix, a couple things. These criteria that go over here, this should come from your design brief. So looking over at Word, you have this design brief from back when we first started, and you can use the same ones I have in my PowerPoint, that's fine. But I'm getting these constraints right from here, all right? And that's what we want to look back for because this was the challenge. So we want to highlight these items. So I just added those in a table in PowerPoint here. If you want to do these on a sheet of paper and draw a little table on paper and take a picture of it, that's fine too. Whatever works for you to get this done. So come up with at least 5 different criteria that when you want to rate it on. You are welcome to use the same ones from here. If you have some other ones you want to put in there, great. Typically, when we do a decision matrix, we rate in a 1 to 4 system. You want to try to use an even number of ratings so that you don't end up with a lot of, if it's 1 to 3, you could pick 2, and that really doesn't pull you in either direction. It's kind of right down the middle. So forcing you to either pick a 3 or a 2 is going to help you. If something's in the middle, if you pick a 3 or 2, that's going to help you make that decision. And again, usually there will be more. I didn't want you to make more sketches than this, but usually you'll have like 4 different designs. And typically you'll be working in a team here. So my first criteria is that it protects the product. So they're both going to do that well. They all have flaps on the seams. They're all pretty sturdy. So I gave them both a 4 in that. As far as displays the product, they'll both look pretty nice in my opinion. So, looking over at this one here, it's got a little bit more interesting look to it. But when I think about this one is 2 inches wide on the shelf, roughly the same height as the other one. On this one, this is only 1.25 inches. So if I am, a store owner, this is going to take up a little more room on the shelf. So that's why I gave the triangular one less point on there. Even though the product window is a little more interesting, because of the space needed, I docked it a point. When we look at conservation of materials, if we look at the two flat patterns, this one is 8 by 6 3/8, and this one is 5 3/8. I think this is actually supposed to be 6.75. So it's considerably smaller, an inch or so in each direction. So I rated the triangular one a little bit less. Number 4 is, I gave the second one 4 points because it's a smaller pattern and it uses less glue. If you look at my design for my first one, because of the triangular shape, there's a lot of things that need to get glued. There's 4 different glue joints, 5 different glue joints on that one. So a lot more glue is used, which again is going to factor into time and all that kind of stuff. Ease of manufacturing. So how easy is it going to be for you to cut these things out? We don't have a laser cutter to zip these things out. You don't have a die cut. So how easy is it going to be for you to cut these things with the tools that you have? I think it is, with my 2 designs, this one's pretty simple. Going in and cutting all this stuff out. There's nothing terribly difficult there. Just, maybe this little slot is going to be a little bit of a pain, but not so difficult. This one is going to be a little trickier. I'm trying to pull off a locking tab in the top and a locking tabs in the bottom here. This will be easier on paper. Once you try to move to cardboard, that's going to be a little bit more complex. So I rated that one a little bit lower. I only gave that a 2 in ease of manufacturing because I know I'm going to have some more problems with that, but I gave the triangular one a 4. And then ease of assembly, The triangular one I docked because it's got all these different glue joints in it to be assembled. And the other thing is, once it's assembled, or once it's glued, you have to rip it apart, and you can't really store it. Once it's glued, the product's in it, and you're done. With the other one, similar to like if you've ever been to a pizza shop and you see them putting pizza boxes together, imagine if all those pizza boxes came in on a truck assembled, how much more volume that would take. So with this design, it has one glue tab, and then it can actually be stacked flat until it's ready to be used, and then we can put these different tabs together and assemble it. So I rated that one a lot higher. And then going through, adding everything up, 15 points for the triangular one, 18 points for the square shaped one. So that's going to be my winner that I'll move on to the next steps with. I will ask for each of these categories, you give it a score and also a justification. All right, now don't just put one word there. Make it a full thought. Doesn't have to be complete sentences here, but just a full thought about why you're rating it a 4, 1, 2, 3, whatever that is. Again, you can use these same design criteria. You can come up with a couple extra ones. Make sure you're rating on a scale of 1 through 4, and make sure you have everything totaled up when you're done. I do need to see labels up top, so I labeled them Sketch 1 and Sketch 2, and if you look in my PowerPoint, I have headers up there for that. If you want to name your package design something different, that's fine, as long as in the header of your decision matrix, I see that information. And then whatever's the winner here, we'll take that into Step 7, which will be our full-size drawings and flat pattern work. So again, office hours are 8 to 11, so shoot me an email if you need some help with something. Hope you're doing well.